Hello and welcome to another album ranking. Today I'm going to be ranking Moody Blues albums. Not every single one of them. I'm only going to be ranking their albums between 1967 and 1983. I haven't actually heard their first album, The Magnificent Moodies, and I haven't listened to anything after the present, and I don't think I will because I'm just not very interested in it. So I'm only going to be ranking 10 of their albums, so let's get straight into it. At number 10, The Present, 1983. This one was the most recent one I bought, and it's definitely the worst of the ones I've heard. I bought it because, I know they went really pop after that, but I thought this one might be sort of decent to listen to. And it does have some okay tracks on it. I suppose Blue World's okay, and I like I Am as well. I think I kind of like that the two sort of early 80s albums, they sort of let Ray Thomas sort of take over the end of the album, sort of letting him do what he wants. All around, it's not a great album. Decent album cover, but it's not a great album. It's all right. It's got some decent tracks, but it's not great. Not much else to say about it. Number 9, Octave, 1978. This was 6 years after their hiatus. It does include all the 5 original band members: Mike Pinder, Graham Edge, John Lodge, Reed Thomas, and Justin Hayward. But it just doesn't have the magic that the previous albums had. Again, there are some decent tracks on it. Had to Fall in Love's very good, I think. Top Rank Suite's okay, I'm Your Man, and Survival are decent tracks, but all around it's not great. And I think Mike Pinder doesn't do too much on this album. It doesn't do too many great songs. I think it was the 6 year hiatus sort of definitely kind of sort of put them off the tracks a bit in terms of the quality. I think they should have just continued doing what they were doing in the early 70s. I think 6 year hiatus definitely sort of it took them out their stride in terms of the musical quality, I think. Number 8, Long Distance Voyager in 1981. This was the album after Octave, and this was when Mike Pinder was replaced by Patrick Moraz, and I would say it's quite a bit better. The great tracks on it, like The Voice, Talking Out of Turn, In My World, 22,000 Days, sorry, and Veteran Cosmic Rocker is good as well. And again, I like that Ray Thomas sort of takes over the end of the album. It's got that sort of 80s sound to it, and I kind of like the synthy sort of sound in the background. I do like that Patrick Moraz played on these albums in the early 80s, and I think it sounds better with that kind of sound than Mike Pinder. Mike Pinder was perfect for the stuff in the early 70s and late 60s, but their slightly more pop orientated stuff I think maybe fitted Patrick Moraz a bit better. Okay, for now the top 7 are all Core 7 albums with Mike Pinder, and he's an absolutely fantastic keyboard player. I just think that Octave wasn't a great album. It's probably not his fault, and then I think Long Distance Voyager was better. But I would say Octave's better than The Present and probably anything after it. Okay, number 7, A Question of Balance, 1970. My opinion on the Core 7 has changed many times. Sometimes I think one's better than others. Sometimes I think one's the worst. I've listened to the Core 7 over the last week or so, and I would actually say that this is the worst. And I used to actually think this was the 5th best instead of the 7th best. But this one has a sort of stripped down sound compared to the others. It's got a very cool album cover though, but it's got a stripped down sound. The other ones were very lush with lots of keyboard and flute sounds, and this one was stripped down a bit. The band said because it made it easier to play live, but it's got some absolutely brilliant songs on it, like Question, How Is It, Dawning Is the Day is my favourite. Melancholy Man's good, and Turtles in the Hair is quite good as well. And I also really like And the Tide Rushes In. So all around, I think it's much better than any of the other albums. I think the difference between the Core 7 and the ones after it is a huge gap. Mike Pinder was tremendous on these albums, and all 5 of them were perfect. I mean, I talked about the Moody Blues in my top 20 prog rock bands, the part 2 video. So my opinion of that's knowing how brilliant the five guys were together. But all around, it's a tremendous album, and my personal least favourite, the Core 7. Number 6, In Search of the Lost Chord, 1968. This is actually on besteveralbums.com ranked as the second best of the Core 7. I definitely wouldn't agree with that. It's got a tremendous album cover. I absolutely love this album cover. Again, all 5 members. This was the second album released in the Core 7, and it's got great tracks on it, like Ride My Seesaw, The Voice, Voices in the Sky, The Actor, Legend of a Mind, but I'd say House of Four Doors is probably my least favourite out of all the songs on the Core 7. No offence, John Lodge. I just don't think it's a great song, and I don't think there needed to be 2 parts of it either. I think the second side is much better than the first side, but it is a good album. It's great all round. All 7 of the Core 7 are great albums, and it's got a great album cover. This is a concept album, and I think it's about enlightenment and stuff like that. All their sort of albums in the late 60s were kind of concept albums about enlightenment. So, but all kind of in a different way. And there's some nice pictures of the band on the back as well. Okay, number 5. Every Good Boy Deserves Favour, 1971. This was the 6th album of the Core 7, the second last, and obviously. And again, this one was actually my least favourite out of the 7 for a while. Up until last week when I listened to it, and I think I truly appreciated how good it was. There's fantastic songs on it, like The Story in Your Eyes, Emily's Song, After You Came, Our Guessing Game, Nice to Be Here, and You Can Never Go Home. And my song You Can Never Go Home is my personal favourite. I think it's one of Justin Hayward's best. And again, it's got a really cool album cover and a cool cover on the back, and nice artwork in the middle as well. So that's my 5th favourite Moody Blues album, and it just gets better from here. Number 4, Seventh Sojourn. I apologise that I don't have this one on vinyl. It's the only one out of this Core 7 that I don't have on vinyl. I actually only had the first 4 for a while, and then a few weeks ago I saw Every Good Boy Deserves Favour in a sort of used vinyl shop. Then I ordered Question of Balance as well, but I will get this on vinyl at some point. And the only problem I have with this album is the album cover. The other 6 all have really cool, trippy, psychedelic album covers. But this one, I think it's just sort of like some rocks or something. I'm not 100% sure what it is. It just kind of looks like some rocks. It's a bit disappointing, but the album's fantastic. Some of their best songs, like Lost in a Lost World, New Horizons, The Land of Make Believe, When You're a Free Man. Again, I think the second side's better than the first side, though I'd say my favourite 2 are the first 2 tracks, especially New Horizons. I'd say that's one of Justin Hayward's absolute best songs. This was also the one I listened to last for the first time at the entire Core 7. This is the 7th. It was released in 1972. This was the last album before their hiatus, before Octave, 6 years later. And if you've got the bonus tracks version like I do, I'd definitely suggest listening to Island, the last track, which was supposed to be a song that was going to be on their next album, which would have, I assume, came out in 1973, but that album never happened because they took a hiatus for 6 years and then Octave came. All around, it's a fantastic album, and I think it's right down the middle at number 4. And number 3, Days of Future Past, 1967. This is probably the most popular one. This was the first of the Core 7. Maybe the first concept album ever, and it may be the first prog rock album ever. It's up for debate. But it is a concept album about a day in the life. The album starts at the beginning of the day and then goes through to nighttime. Tremendous songs on it, like The Day Begins, The Morning, The Afternoon, Lunch Break, Evening, The Night. Pretty much the whole album. The only song I have a bit of a problem with is Dawn Is a Feeling. I usually absolutely love Mike Pinder's sort of more darker tones in comparison to the other band members, but Dawn Is a Feeling is maybe the one that I don't like very much. I'd say it's the only song on the album I have a problem with. The other ones are tremendous, especially the second side. I would say the second side's better than the first side. The entire second side's perfect. Really can't say a single bad thing about it. And the poems at the beginning and the end of the album by Graham Edge are beautiful as well. But Nights in White Satin's probably their biggest hit ever, and in fact, yeah, definitely is their biggest hit, and it deserves to be. It's an absolutely brilliant song, and the orchestral influences on the stuff in the album as well was amazing. They had an entire orchestra to work with, and some of the music on it is just absolutely beautiful. It's very much stands out. It's the only Moody Blues album that has this whole orchestra behind it. The other ones are just sort of the 5 of them doing their music. So this one definitely is unique and it stands out, and it's amazing. Number 2, you'll have to wait, because that's number 2 and number 1. If you know the Moody Blues Core 7, you'll know what they are. Well, maybe not in the order, but you'll know the 2 I'm talking about. I'm going to do full reviews of them. They'll be the 2 reviews I do before Christmas. So, like I said, I was going to do finish with at least 21 reviews. I've done 19 so far, and by the end of the year, I want to do at least 21. They're going to be the 2 I'm going to do. So if you know the Core 7, or you know the Moody Blues, you'll know what those 2 albums are. And I think I'll post one of them later on tonight. So that should be good. I just think those 2 albums are just so good. I mean, number 3 is the Days of Future Past, but I'd say 2 and 1 are quite a bit better. I just think they're absolutely amazing. So, and they're very close to each other in terms of quality. So I wanted to do entire reviews of them. So I'll see you later, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy.